Hello, my dear student. This is again Teacher Shasha, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you for taking the time in going through your grammar lesson for today. I put a lot of effort in coming up with this video for you. I hope you enjoy and learn something new today.
So, what do you wonder about today's topic? You have 5 seconds to think of your answer. Let me go ahead and start by encouraging you with our quote of the day. It says here, "Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead," by Nora Ephron. So guys, please never stop learning, and I appreciate you continuously learning despite our circumstances these days. So stay positive, and we're all in this together. We'll make sure that hopefully it goes back to the way it used to be. So for this week's topic, we will be talking about conditionals. So what are conditionals in English grammar? Sometimes we call them the if statements. So for our learning objectives, first is to review what are conditional statements. Second is to differentiate first and second conditional statements. And the last is to practice identifying conditional statements. There are 4 types of conditional statements. The first is the zero conditional, which talks about factual things. The first conditional, which talks about things that could possibly happen in the future. The second conditional talks about the things that is impossible to happen in the near future. And then the third conditional would mean things that did not happen in the past or wishful thinking. This week, we will be focusing on the difference between the first and second conditional. Now let's go ahead and start with identifying what are first conditional statements. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video. What was the man thinking? He thinks, if I miss the bus, then I'll catch a taxi. In this situation, the man is thinking of a possibility and uncertainty of missing the bus and the consequences or the result that may happen. This is what you call the first conditional. First conditional is used to talk about a possible event or situation in the present or the future and its result or consequence. Example was, if I miss the bus, I'll catch a taxi. Example 2, if we miss the bus again, then I'll be late for my favorite show. There are also other usage for first conditional. We could talk about future plans and invitation. Example, if the weather is good tomorrow, we'll go to the park. It may also be used for offers and promises. Example, if I finish my work, I'll watch Pokemon with you. For negotiations, if you help me make dinner, I'll help you with your homework. It could also be used for threats and warnings. If you keep acting like this, you'll be grounded for a week. Or for polite requests, such as, if you'll give me a moment, I'll be right there, sweetie. There are also form or statements used for first conditional statement. That is the if clause, comma, plus results clause. You could also use condition or subordinate clause plus consequence, main or other clause. There are also forms used for first conditional. That's if plus any present tense plus any future tense. But in this example, we will use the most common form, which is if plus present simple plus future simple with the use of will, since those are the most commonly used formats. Example: if I miss the bus, I'll catch a taxi. Using unless can replace the use of if in the if clause. Example: unless I miss the bus, I won't catch a taxi. Switching the positions of the clauses could also through this format: result clause plus if clause. Example: I'll catch a taxi if I miss the bus. No comma when the result clause comes first. Notice we can use if at the middle or at the end of the sentence. It doesn't matter at all. It wouldn't change the meaning of that sentence. So to recap, the function of first conditional is to talk about a possible event or situation in the present or future and its result or consequences. So uses would be possibilities and uncertain events and situations which results to consequences. Future plans and invitations, offers and promises, negotiations, threats and warnings, polite requests, and so much more. Now let's go ahead and move on to the second type of conditional statement, the second conditional. What is another way of saying eating everything is going to make me fat? If I ate everything, I'd get fat. This is what we call the second conditional. The main function of the second conditional is to talk about hypothetical or imaginary situations in the present or future and their consequences. This is Ted. Ted is a poor man and lives in a small house, and he wishes he was rich so he can buy a big house. So how can he say this using the second conditional? That's how we use the word for the pronoun I. That's because for second conditionals, we use verb for all pronouns after the word if in the condition clause, including I, he, she, and it. However, we can also use was in formal language, especially in formal speech in this situation. Ted is using the second conditional to express his desires, whereas in the previous example, the boy did not want to eat everything. However, both are not true or hypothetical. A third function of the second conditional is to give advice. However, for short, we can just say the result or consequence clause. We could use could instead of would. Could means would be able to. Let's give this a try. James has a crush on Sophia. He wants to ask her out on a date, but he can't because Sophia can't speak English and James can't speak Greek. So James says, if only I spoke Greek, I could ask Sophia out. In this sentence, instead of saying I would be able to ask Sophia out, James says I could ask her out. We can also use if only to say that we want things to be different. It has the same meaning as I wish, but it has a stronger emotion. For example, if only I were rich, I'd buy a big house. If only I spoke Greek, I'd ask Sophia out. However, we often say this without the result or consequence clause. For example, if only I were rich. If only I spoke Greek. We don't use if only for giving advice. We only use it to express desires or wishful thinking. Let's have a look at another example. Sarah wants to go swimming, but it's raining. Is Sarah talking about the past, present, or future. She's talking about the present. Is it raining now? Yes, it is raining. Is Sarah swimming now? No, she isn't. Does Sarah want to go swimming? Yes, she does. The form of conditionals or the second conditional. Condition clause, comma, plus result or consequence clause. If or unless, plus past simple, plus would or would it, plus verb in the base form. If plus I ate everything plus I'd plus get fat. Another example, if I were you, I'd buy a new phone. Switch the clause positions, result or consequence clause plus condition clause. Example, I'd get fat if I ate everything. I'd buy a new phone if I were you. To summarize, the functions of second conditional statements are first, to talk about hypothetical or imaginary situations, express desires, and give advice. In Now let's go ahead and take a look at how conditionals will be used in a sentence by answering this Kahoot quiz. If you want, or I could give you another game pen to try to play your own conditional statement. But for the meantime, let's go ahead and go over this quiz. So let's say I have my phone right here. Okay, let's enter our game pen. 2, 1. Enter. Okay, I'll just put my nickname. Now, let's try to answer. Okay, we have 10 questions. Are you ready? First, if I decide to study abroad, I blank my family. Okay, the correct answer is I will miss my family. This is first conditional, something that's likely to happen or possible to happen. Next, if you blank time, we can go for a walk. Okay, so the correct answer is have. If you have time, we can go for a walk. Another first conditional statement. 3. If you could change anything in your life, what blank would it be? Okay, what would it be? This is an example of second conditional, something that may happen in the past or unlikely to happen in the future. Next. Okay, the correct answer is want. Next. Okay, the correct answer is when you heat metal, it melts. It's not it will melt or it would melt because this is a zero conditional, which means this is a factual or true information. It always will be in present form. Next. Okay, this is wasn't. Next. Okay, the correct answer would be Try this is second conditional. Something that may have happened in the past that is not true or impossible. Next. If you got all the conditional right, you're great, you're awesome. Now that we have practiced homework, you will complete another Kahoot challenge. I'll be sending you the game pin via Google Classroom, as well as the Kahoot challenge that you have to complete. So don't forget to thank your parents or anyone in your house for helping you out today.
Oh, and that's the end of our lesson for this week. That was really fast, right? Hope you learned something new today. And don't forget your homework. I will be checking on it really soon. And please remember, you are unique, you are awesome. Please thank your parent or your loved ones who supported you today. This is Teacher Shasha saying goodbye. Have a great day.